Good morning. Morning, everybody. How's it going? What's up? We have our friend Dan Fiallo in the house this morning. What's up, buddy? And Dr. Feelgood is back, and his morning is starting off interesting. A flat tire. Well, hopefully you got that fixed, changed, plugged. Um, Help if you need help. My day is going well. Just started about an hour and a half ago. Woke up early, jammed over to the office, did some reading, finally actually started cracking a book. Um and got some reading in this morning. Scuba Steve in the house doing some kapows on the screen. This guy. What's up, Scuba? How are you doing? How have you been? How's Junie? What's going on? I see you. Good morning, Dylan. What's up? Um yeah, and then the other thing is the mystery of my AirPod uh has been solved. I went to my in-laws house yesterday and I tore the bed upside down and could not find it. And I like seriously thought that I ate it in my sleep. Um just couldn't track it, couldn't ping it, couldn't do any of that Apple stuff. And then I gave up, and later in the evening, I was, conversing with my daughter about something going on Thursday, and my wife, shot me a message saying, "Oh, by the way, my mom has your AirPod. It's here at the house. We thought you were gonna come home." And I was like, "Oh, sweet. It's been found." So, yeah, that was my evening. Kinda just hung out and, got some good sleep. Scuba Steve found out kid's mother has a last day of school
Buenos
yesterday.
dias, Dominic.
What's up, buddy? Good morning.
Good morning. Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday indeed. This is the
Greens.
the Scuba Steve saga. I just we heard a little bit of it in the parents chat, but that's rough, man. Been organizing a motion for emergency custody all night. I'm sorry, dude. Sorry to hear that. It's a bummer. It seems like you were getting close there. The last messages that you sent in the chat. So I mean, hopefully you get it. Hopefully you get it done, and you and Junie can kind of put that behind you guys at least for a little bit. I'm sure that's not going to be the last that you see of her, but hopefully, whatever she has going on, she gets help, and then she comes back to you guys one day in a better position. Yeah, man. Appreciate you sharing all that
That's
with
heavy.
us, obviously, too. But how are you doing, Jason? What's going on? What was your day like? How's it, how are things going this morning? Did you get a workout in?
No, couch sleep, unplanned couch sleep, which is
Oh
sometimes good
no.
for sleep, but kind of awake, kind of here, hovering around maybe a 6.5 at this particular moment.
What happened with the couch sleep? Did you just like fall asleep on the couch?
I lied to myself. I said I'm just going to lay down here for 5 minutes.
Gotcha.
That that never works, ever. It never does, and I tell myself that too when I do that. So, um,
Oh,
but hey, I'm on summer break, so doesn't matter.
shenanigans.
Yeah.
All right,
How
well,
are
good
you
stuff.
today?
I'm doing good. I'm feeling good today. I Yeah, I'm feeling good. I kind of like I was just mentioning it. I got this call from my daughter, this FaceTime call, and she was asking me about Thursday. And it sucks. Like I in the moment because I was at work in the middle of something, kind of interrupted, but I kind of made this goal of myself to like always pick up the calls, from my kids and my wife. But like sometimes that's tough because if you're in the middle of something, it can like instantly frustrate you that you're being called or distracted for whatever reason. It could be the simplest thing and it could be something a little bit more detailed. So in this instance, she was asking for something on Thursday, and we have a busy day on Thursday. And I basically had told her, no, I don't think that's going to work. And then she kept pushing. And I could see in the background that like my wife and my mother-in-law were there. So I'm sure that they were having, a conversation. And I'm sure they told her, like, oh, no, we don't think that's going to work, but maybe ask your dad. And it's that kind of little step right there. I think that kind of set me off a little bit because it's like they probably both knew that I was gonna, it would be too much for me. But they brought it into my space, and so I just very much got, I started off kind and just like telling her the facts, and then I very much got a little annoyed that it kept getting pushed, and I was like, I kind of like I didn't yell, but I kind of like talked in a more stern tone and was just like, "It's not gonna happen. Like, there's just too much going on." So, I don't know. I don't feel great about it, but I feel like I don't know that I could have handled it any other way other than just ignoring the call,
Mhm.
which I don't know that that's the move, like, because like I said, I don't wanna be ignoring the calls.
Without telling us what it is, if you don't want to tell us, was this a last minute event
Yeah. Yeah,
that
so,
you
like,
just couldn't fit?
On Thursday, we're going well, originally, we were going out of town on Friday, but then the friend group was like, "Let's break up the travel day, and that way we can start fresh on Friday in the destination." And so they were like, "Let's just go like the majority of the way there on Thursday." So then that pushed the weekend travel to Thursday, which meant I have to take a half day on Thursday to get home, pack, load up the family, and drive, right? So that's already enough. Then we find out that it's my nephew graduation from fifth grade on Thursday. So, and my daughter Brooklyn, her and my nephew like think of each other as best friends. They're like a year apart. They get along really well. So the plan got made where my mother-in-law would go to my house yesterday and then bring both girls to her house today. That's happening today. They'll all spend the night with me and the in-laws. Then they'll go to the graduation tomorrow morning while I'm at work. And then I'm gonna pick them up and we'll all go home, pack, and then go on the trip this weekend. And so that was the plan. And then what was the call yesterday was, "Oh, can we extend our stay down here a little bit on Thursday so that we can go to lunch after the graduation?" And I'm like, "It's just not gonna work. We were leaving at lunchtime." And I know how lunches with family go. I'm like, the only way it would work is if like we sat down and everybody knew what they ordered. We ate really quick and we were there for 30 minutes. Not an
Mhm.
hour, not an hour and a half, not all that other gee, I'm going back to bed. So it was just too much. And I was like, yeah, I think I ended the call with like a little dick saying like, thanks for adding this stress to my day. Something like that, just like wasn't like the best way to end the call. And I know I was on speakerphone because it was a FaceTime call. And yeah. So,
What would I do in that situation? I would say give yourself a little bit of grace. Sometimes we say things that we might regret, but
mhm,
I don't know. I'm sure there's a lesson in there somewhere. I had similar thing yesterday, smaller scale. My daughter got home from her day camp and wanted to go to the pool for teen night. Teen night at the pool
okay.
as a 12-year-old, which I was initially okay with, but it's like going back into town, and it was, which I would totally have been fine with her going if we had a plan to take her. But by that time of the day, we've already spent all our energy. We've done all the driving. So um, I, what we're trying to work with her with that kind of stuff is we'll probably say yes to this stuff, but you got to do it in advance. And
Yeah.
um, sometimes we can't do the thing you want to do. So let us know earlier next time. It wasn't quite as contested, but some sad feelings for about 5 minutes before dinner.
Yeah. Yeah. I read something this morning that was like the two parts of our brain. One of them that develops, the latest is, I mean, it's way more than this, but part of it is the planning, like planning and organizing and that next level thinking. So like kids just that's why they're just more spontaneous and spur of the moment and emotional versus, regulated planning, forethought, self-aware, like those kind of things are what we all develop well into our 20s. And that's part of our job as a parent to help them with those steps. And it mostly happens in these instances where the kid just wants to do something and you as a parent, you obviously get to make that choice like you guys did where it's do we do we just pull into those reserve tanks and just take the kids somewhere because they're going to have fun and it's just us that has to quote unquote suffer for a minute? Or do we make this a lesson where it's like, no, you could have gone had you asked us earlier and allowed us to develop a plan or came up with a plan. And so I know where you're coming from because I very much have had a lot of those situations with Bailey. Um, some where we've taken her and some where we've not. And she's definitely getting better about planning, looking for other ways to, get a ride from someone, or, she has a friend who has his driver's license and he's a short walk or skateboard away from our house. And we've allowed her and told her that she can go to his house. Um, you know, in that instance, like we know him, he's been to our house, we've met him a bunch of times, we've been to his house, so he's a trusted person at this point. Um, But yeah, it takes time for sure. It's a muscle memory. It's something they need to build.
Yeah.
Good morning, David.
I might even say, kind of reflecting what Dylan just said, that was a great reflection you had about that entire interaction. Um, and if you feel bad about it, I will second the the later apology. I've done that
Yeah.
before when I've raise my voice or something when it wasn't needed. Like, yeah, there's times when you have to raise your voice, but there's always strength in apologizing. I think that's like one of the great things you can do as a parent is show your kid when you're sorry about doing something.
Yeah.
Um, and it helps me it helps me control myself for next time. Like I don't want to have to apologize, so I'm not going to do the thing that I have to apologize next time. Um, maybe consider that if you feel
Yeah,
if you think
it's
that'll help resolve it.
yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, there's just a lot of different things, and I know everything's going to be fine with me in Brooklyn. And I checked on my wife later in the night, and I said, "Hey, is everything okay? Like, I hope I didn't make anyone, more upset than they needed to be in that situation." And she's like, "Honestly, I didn't hear most of the conversation." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, good." So I don't know if that's like a hidden truth or a like, whatever, but she was pretty short in the message. So who knows what I'm walking into. But at the end of the day, like I said, the environment, there was a lot of factors. Like there's a lot of stuff that I think I have weighing on me that they don't quite know about. And I try to communicate with them, but sometimes I do struggle to bring, my stress and kind of lay it out there for them to see it so that they can know. And then maybe, like I don't want them to think that like dad's always stressed and upset. And so we shouldn't be talking to him because he's just going to act this way. So I'm trying to regulate it as best I can to still be there for them. But at the same time, there's just a lot going on.
I'm reading
You,
David's
I was gonna say
here.
the the long ones sometimes are tough because we definitely want to read them, but
Yeah,
reading and speaking and is difficult.
yeah. Um, so if we rephrase David in mouth words, I'm a little bit cloudy this morning. I was typing in the box here. I was actually apologizing to Scuba Steve. I mean to blow off your situation by saying that's heavy. I do appreciate the Back to the Future reference. But yeah, that's an intense situation, and I didn't mean to blow it off. So um, just trying to wake up here a little bit more. And I'm trying to wrap my head around David's comment. I know there's something really important in there, and I'm trying to get it. Uh, so when we ask the family for a decision, they say do whatever we think is right. Um, so it's almost like they kind of set you up for failure, is what I'm kind of reading this like. Has that happened before? I feel like I know that feeling, but I can't remember when that's happened. I'm gonna let that bake for a second.
Yeah, I think it's like this it's like the standard like, when everybody's hungry for dinner and it's like, "What do you want?" And they're like, "No, you pick." And then you're like, "I wanna go Mexican." And they're like, "Well, I don't feel like Mexican." It's like they kinda like set you up for a trap. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
he's basically like off of my decision, like my wife and mother-in-law knew what my answer was gonna be, but they after getting asked probably a number of times because my kids like to pester, they were like, "Just call your dad and ask him."
That's
And
when
it's
you
like,
just
so
that's when you
s
just drive to the Mexican restaurant and order for everybody. That
in
sounds like
in that instance, I should have just done that, and then just sat here with 6 burritos on a FaceTime call and be like, "Where are you guys? I thought we were here."
that happened last night. I made tacos. I made really good, like, fancy street tacos.
Ooh, nice.
Kristen ate them. Kira ate them. My 2 kids stared at their tacos and then made me make cheese quesadillas instead. I
Yeah.
was I was a little bit burny on the inside, but I didn't blow up. I made the quesadillas.
The
Um,
younger ones, yeah.
yeah. Um, June 11th, make time for crazy. What did you think of today's reading?
I like it, you know? I very much like to be that person with my kids. I had a gentleman in my life who brought the crazy. He was one of my mom's boyfriends during my childhood, and he was just a very fun human, and I loved him for that. He always made me laugh, always made me smile, and I think, that's kind of been my role, my thing in the family.
I like Dr. Feelgood's tip here. I like that. I'm going to use that next time. Sorry, continue. Didn't mean to interrupt.
So yeah, that's been my role. I'm the loud one, I'm the boisterous one, like I'm the one who will, you know, when a song is in a movie, I get up and dance with the kids a little bit. Definitely on the ground wrestling. There's no there's no shortage of crazy, I don't think.
I enjoyed the reading. I think that's so little synopsis. Douglas MacArthur, um, famous World War II Air Force, no Navy, I think. Um, his life is a life of routine, and he had a young son who would come into the room every morning at about 7:30, and every day there was a little built-in time for fun where his son would walk into the room, stomping his feet, yelling "boom, boom, boom, boomity boom," and then he would always have a little present for him ready to go, whether it was his candy, a little toy. Um, and I enjoyed that. And I know like there's tons of crazy, and like I feel like we do take time for crazy, and sometimes at this particular moment I'm trying to think of like an actual like crazy ritual that we do, and I'm having a hard time identifying something specific, like a certain time of the day where you just kind of let loose. That might be after work, it might be in the morning. um, the time of day when like schedule isn't top of mind, where you can just kind of like chill out and let your guard down. And I feel like we do that because it's necessary. But
Yeah.
I am having a hard time thinking of like a ritual that we have.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything in my mind that's a ritual or like always daily. It's just more that like anytime I'm around them, there's definitely moments of crazy. I wouldn't say you know, I wouldn't say it's like this, like but then again, like when I'm with my kids, like we don't have like a scheduled life. I'm at work, I'm scheduled. When I'm with my kids, I'm not scheduled. So it's just shenanigans the whole time.
Yeah. At this particular time, we have a pretty decent schedule. The girls are doing something. I mentioned in the chat yesterday that I had a hard time on Tuesday finding some purpose in my day because like the kids were gone, I was on break, Kristen was working. Um, I had a little bit of existential dread about what retirement and being an empty nester looks like. Um, and I, for the first time in a long time, I was like, wow, when the kids aren't here, it's like I'm having a hard time thinking or like sticking to like whatever routine I have
Yeah.
throughout the day. Like it was, I just kind of defaulted to like walking around the house like a retired guy, just fixing things that were like sticking out. Like we have like a few door jams that have settled. Like that was my day on Tuesday, and that was such a different feeling that I've had in a long time, because besides that it was like school, kids, like getting kids ready, getting home, downtime,
So
bedtime.
is this not like every summer for you, or is this a different summer because all three kids have something right now? And
It's
maybe
it's different, and this summer I'm kind of processing this change in routine a little bit differently, a little bit more mindfully.
yeah.
um, some wins and some learning opportunities for me
Do
for
you
sure.
do you not can you not teach in the summer? or is that not
I
something you?
can. I missed the cutoff for like summer school teaching.
Okay. Have you done that
But
before?
I have not.
Okay.
Maybe next summer.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that you can add in once you do become an actual empty nester, is like you could always think like, you don't have to technically retire. You can, that's the time when you can work during the summer as well. Whereas right now it's probably better for you and the kids and the wife and the house for you to be taking summers off if you can financially. Enjoy
Yeah,
it while
well,
you can.
we could always
Enjoy it
use.
while you can.
We have some monies who like more monies. Um, Thank you, Dr. Feelgood, for some writings. Um, but that turned around on Wednesday. Like yesterday. What's today? Wednesday.
Yes, all day.
Today's Wednesday. Monday was the tough day. Tuesday ended up being really good. We nailed down our Arizona road trip plan together. So me and Kristen had some good time together,
Nice.
doing that and making sure we know what we're doing. Um, and I'm going to spend some time reading this stuff that Dr. Feelgood has
Yeah.
today while I fix door jams. I also downloaded a bunch of audiobooks. Um, so I'm going to do that as well
Good stuff.
and try to wake up.
And make breakfast.
Yeah.
Some little rascals. Well, awesome. I will be here tomorrow, but I most likely won't be around Friday to Monday. And I was gonna bring this up at some point. Now is probably a good enough time. There's a couple people in here. I definitely wanted to shout out everyone for Father's Day, to get that in and out of the way, and then obviously circle back on it when I get back on Tuesday. I will try to log in, but I don't know what life's going to be like out there. This group likes to keep me up late at night, which usually means I can't wake up early enough to make this call. Um, Hopefully you and Blaze and Ryan hold it down and do some calls if you guys can. I was also going to recommend maybe might be time if it's just you, like bring up Dr. Feelgood or bring up Dan or see if anyone wants to join. Like I've been meaning to um put that ask into people, but I also enjoy just I like the two-person conversations. They flow well. 3 and 4 get a little tough at times. I find myself just quieting back and letting the others speak, but,
Mhm.
in this instance where there's just one of us, one's very tough. I don't like talking alone, but anyways, that's behind the scenes. But yeah, again, if I don't, I'll see you guys all tomorrow. So we'll do the Happy Father's Day stuff tomorrow, I guess.
Yeah. I'll be around on Friday. So yeah, would love to see some faces of people that we normally talk with in the morning.
Yeah.
Um, that's it for me.
Okay.
I'm
Let's go get that. Let's go get that. Let's go attack that Wednesday, man.
I'm a little on the struggle bus this morning.
Let's amp it up to that 9+ club. Let's see as close as we can get to it. Like that's always the goal, right?
It is. I normally hit it. There's always a time of day where I'm 9+. Right now, it's not that time.
Yeah. Let that coffee flow, get that breakfast in you, get a couple of hugs from the girls, and you'll get up there.
Yeah. Dr.
But
Feelgood,
yeah,
I will DM you my personal information for sure.
yeah. You guys are both in the parents chat, so you can find each other in there too. But man, everybody, thank you for showing up. Thank you for coming in, stopping by, hanging out. Uh, we appreciate you all. We love you all. Thanks for listening to my story, as always, letting me vent and giving back. Appreciate you guys.
Have a great Wednesday, everybody. Love you
See you,
all.
buddy.
See you, Dom.